All right, on the bench tonight. What the hell is that? Soldering irons. So I have several models for you to look at tonight. Of course, we have the simple models here. These are just made by Weller. You could pick them up at your Home Depot, your box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever. They're cheap. They usually cost $20 or less, and they are capable. They do the job. They melt solder to seal it. And this one is slightly better. Has a light on it, which I really like. Let's show you that actually. I have these plugged in so that we can look at them as well. I've already tried to make this video, but I suck at making videos, so you know. So here's our video, and it's great because it puts illumination right where you need it. I'm not going to stab myself with this thing. It is hot. These smaller ones do not get hot very quickly, though, so they take some time to heat up. They usually include a very chintzy iron holder. It's just a little flat thing that just keeps it from touching things. All right, so let me put these two little ones away. So you saw those. They're both Wellers. They're both 23 watts. And I'm just setting them up on the sander so that they're out of my way. And then you have my larger units. So on this side, they're both blue. So this is the Weller. The model is WE101 1010. So it is a Weller. The plug comes off of the back. It's just a PC power plug, or plugs right in, which I like that because I have quite a few longer cords, and that's nice to not have to have an extension cord. The head also comes loose. It is one way only, so be careful when you put it back in. The thing that I don't like about the Weller is that when I power it on, it's not illuminated. So you can see it powers on and it heats up very quickly. It's already starting to heat up. But there's no lighting. It will go off in 10 minutes. I can set it to Fahrenheit. So it does its thing. I think it came with a couple of heads, a couple of tips. And of course it came with this iron holder, which is okay. It's not super high quality or anything. It's got a spot for a sponge. It does not have a spot for a cleaner, which I don't like. But it's robust. It feels okay. It's got a nice squishy handle over mold here. Nice flexible cable. As you can see, it heats up very quickly. It does have a power on off switch, has automatic off. I do like the automatic off feature, and you can change the time. Then we have the Hacko. This is the 888D. 888D. D for digital, because there is a analog version as well. You watch it, it powers up very quickly, which is one of the things I like about it. You can see it, that's real time. It'll be at 800 plus degrees in no time flat. So we're ready to solder. It comes with several heads that are also interchangeable. You just unscrew it and pull it loose and then put a new head on and then screw it back in, just like the Weller. Has a nice overmold, but not quite as squishy. I think the Weller is a little bit more comfortable to hold, but they both weigh about the same. They're both, again, very capable machines, much more capable than the two cheaper models that I already showed you, but you know, it also comes with this very nice soldering iron rest. It's a cast material of some sort, probably magnesium, or it's not aluminum, it's way too light. It has a spot for a cleaner inside of there, and of course a spot for your sponge. My sponges are not out here because it's dusty in the shop, and I don't want my sponges to get nasty. Again, the head is interchangeable. This unplugs, so you can get new heads or whatever. Unfortunately, the cord does not come out, which is challenging for storage, but really not a deal breaker. So I make a lot of things like wiring harnesses, and from time to time I also teach people how to solder. And the easiest way to learn to solder is to just start doing it. But really all you need is a flux of some sort. I like a paste flux and solder. And so this is 60/40 solder, which means it is tin and lead. I have lead-free solder, and I do use it. It is up in the soldering box. This is not the soldering box. This is just what I put it in for now. I also have my old Radio Shack flux, which is a little easier to use. You can also buy flux in a little pen, like a little marker, and that does work okay. But if you're going to do a lot of soldering, I really recommend that you get a larger stationary unit like this instead of the smaller pen units, because those smaller units are fine and they do the job, but the handle very quickly gets hot and uncomfortable to hold, and they just don't have the power to keep up with a lot of soldering. So if you're doing a lot of wiring, if you're working on a wiring harness and you need to have your solder kept up with, or larger wiring for that matter. So if we're using a thicker gauge wiring, you also want to have a larger power head, because they stay hot even when touching cold copper, which sucks away the heat. And if you get a large piece of metal and rest one of these tips on, you can actually watch the temperature drop a little bit. And I don't have anything suitable in the shop at the moment, but you'll just have to take my word on that one. But if you're doing a lot of soldering, I really recommend a unit like one of these. I recommend the Hako above all. Again, you saw how quickly it heated up. It's also almost cool to the touch now. Not quite, still hot, but not so hot that it'll burn me. I can put it away. The Weller is also cooled down, but it's still pretty warm. It's still a lot warmer. That ability to put it away quickly is very nice for me. The Weller is a great unit, especially if you have a well-lit workplace. I do not always have such a luxury, and so that having that LED digital readout is very nice for me. And you can see it. It's actually a nice large display, but the problem is that it's not illuminated. That's not a deal breaker. Again, try to work in a well-lit area and you'll be fine. Get your soldering paste and get your wires and just go to work. Be sure and heat shrink your connections. When it comes to things like trailer cables, I like to put 2 layers of heat shrink on. A smaller layer is the primary covering, the primary protection, and then I like to put a slightly larger heat shrink tube over top of that. And when I'm working with these 4 wires here, I'll get an even larger tube so that I can keep all those connections nice and tight together, which really looks nice and helps protect the cables and the connections. When you're making watertight connections, it becomes even more important to protect them. That said, what the hell is that? These are soldering irons. Again, I know this was a long-winded video, and I'm really sorry about that, but it has been a while since I've made a video, and I just felt like I needed to make one. So thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in there. So that's it. Good night.